Yes, ma'am. Welcome. I'm on the air.
Yep, good.
We're ready to go tonight. My name is Willie Hamilton. Of course, this is Real Talk. You can go to 106.9 to tune into the show. If you want to email us a question or a comment, you can go to will@blackmenunited.org. We're going to be doing a whole lot of reading tonight. And all the information I give, you can always go check it out. Don't take my word for it. But the fact of the matter is, we really do have to educate ourselves about the history and what's going on. And then hopefully learn and then organize and strategize and then put into action. I'm not about meeting just to meet. And again, folks, we have to be about action and we have to be bold. Our community is dying because of our inaction, and we need to get moving. So again, we want to thank you so much for tuning into the show. My name is Willie Hamilton. Of course, this is Real Talk. I want to thank my sponsor, Big Mama's Kitchen and Catering and Sandwich Shop, for supporting Black Men United and Real Talk. We had a excellent documentary last week on our Dinner Dine Digest. Basically, with Blaine, with Blank regarding the actual film. But the documentary was called Broken on All Sides. And we had about 50 individuals to talk about Broken on All Sides regarding mass incarceration. The documentary was a great documentary, but the dialogue was even better. We're excited to be putting on a series of community forums around mass incarceration and what that has effect on our community. So I'm going to be giving you some information around mass incarceration, which is going to culminate with us bringing Michelle Alexander back here to Omaha, Nebraska, and we're excited to have that take place. But not only are we going to have her come back, we're actually going to have breakout sessions around recidivism and best practice, if you will, around what's actually working and what's not working around the country around mass incarceration. But we really want to delve deeper into mass incarceration because I don't think people understand the effects that mass incarceration has, not only just by the mass incarceration aspect of it, but through poverty, through hunger, through the criminal justice system, through the prison and school pipeline, and the list goes on and on. So we want to talk a little bit about mass incarceration, but also I posed a question on Facebook because we see a lot of movement around police killing black men and black women. And the question came about when I saw a video of a 9-year-old young girl who was murdered innocently by rival gang members. And the question was posed, why do black folks get so up in arms when police are killing us on the daily, but yet we don't get up in arms and we're killing ourselves just as quickly and even more so than police? So that's going to be a question I would like to pose for the listening audience, and you can email me at will@blackmenunited.org, or you can give me a call here at 402-965-1003 at about, say, 7:30, and we'll get some feedback on that. We already had some response to this question on Facebook, and I think it is a very relevant question because we do see a lot of outrage when the police kills people of color, but yet we don't see that much outrage when innocent 9-year-olds or innocent black men and black women are killed by our own. So marinate on that, man, and give me a call later on the show and tell me what you think. Who said, hold up, system is in need of repair. Okay, what is 0507? Let me read this up. Bear with me. Again, this is Real Talk. And I want to read this. I want to read this letter. Ever since I found it, I read it. I try to read it on at least once a month, once every 3 months. And the letter is almost an insult to us as a people. But the letter is called An Open Letter to Black America. And again, it's called Open Letter to Black America. And it starts by stating, Dear Black Americans. See, after all these years and all we have been through together, we think it appropriate for us to show our gratitude for all you have done for us. We have chastised you, criticized you, punished you, in some cases even apologized to you. But we have never formally nor publicly thanked you for your never-ending allegiance and support to our cause. This is our open letter of thanks to a unique people, a forgiving people, a steadfast people, and a brave people, Black Americans. We will always be in debt to you for your labor. You built this country and were responsible for the great wealth we still enjoy today. Upon your backs, laden with stripes, we sometimes had to apply for disciplinary reasons. You carried our nation. We thank you for that. We thank you for your diligence and your tenacity. Even when we refuse to allow you to even walk in our shadows, you follow close behind, believing that someday we would come to accept you and treat you like men and women. Your strength in the face of adversity cannot be understated. You are truly a great people, and we thank you so much. We publicly acknowledge Black people for raising our children, attending to our sick, and preparing our meals while we were occupied with the trappings of the good life. Even during the time when we found a pleasure in your women and enjoyment in you seeing one of your men lynched, maimed, and burned, some of you continue to watch over us and our belongings. We simply cannot thank you enough. Your bravery on the battlefield, despite being classified as 3/5 of a man, was and still is outstanding and beyond the call of duty. We often watch in awe as you went about your prescribed chores and assignments, sometimes labored in the hot sun for 12 hours to assist us in realizing our dream of wealth and good fortune. You are always there, and we thank you. Now that we control at least 90% of all the resources and the wealth of this nation, we have Black people to thank the most. You were then when it all began, and you are still with us today, protecting us from those Black people who have to speak out against our past transgressions. How can we thank you for your dedication? You warned us about Denmark, Vesey. You let us know about Gabriel Prosser. You called our attention to Nat Turner. You still warn us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, as we look out among our enormous wealth and as we assess our tremendous control of the resources of this country, we can only think of the sacrifices you and your families made to make all of this possible. You are indeed fantastic. We will forever be in your debt. To think of how you have looked out for us for hundreds of years and to see you still doing the same thing today is simply amazing. Thank you for continuing to bring 95% of what you earn to our businesses. That is so gracious of you. Thanks for buying our Heflinger, Karans, Nikes, and all of the other brands you do so adore. Your purchase of this product really makes us feel that we are at least giving something back to you for your patronage. After all, in the past, the brands we put on you were quite painful, but those of today can be proudly worn because they give you a sense of self-esteem, right? But it's the least we can do for our people who have treated us so well. Your super rich athletes, entertainers, intellectuals, and business persons, both legal and illegal, exchanged most of their money for our cars, jewelry, homes, and clothing. What a windfall they have provided for us. The less fortunate among you spend all they have at our neighborhood stores, enabling us to open even more stores. Sure, they complain about us, but they never do anything to hurt us economically. You are a very special people. Thank you. Oh, yes. Allow us to thank you for not bargaining yourself down with the business of doing business with your own people. We can take care of that for you. Please don't even trouble yourself with it. Yes, you were very successful at it after slavery ended, and even as recently as the 60s. But you know what happened when you began to build your own communities and do business with one another? Some of the lower ones of our kind burn you out time and time again. So why bother? In today's business environment, your own people will not support you anyway. You just keep doing business with us. It's safer that way. Besides, everything you need, we make anyway. Even a kente cloth. You just continue to dance, sing, fight, get high, go to prison, bite, envy, and distrust, and hate one another. Hate yourselves a good time. Have yourself a good time. And this time we will take care of you. It's the least we can do. Consider yourself. All you have done for us, heck, you deserve it, bright people. For your labor which created our wealth. For your resisting the message of troublemaking blacks like Washington, Delaney, Garvey, Bethune, Tubman, and Truth. For fighting and dying on your battlefields, we thank you. For allowing us to move into your neighborhoods, we will forever be grateful to you. For your unceasing desire to be near us, and for hardly ever following through on your threats due to our lack of reciprocity and equity, we thank you so much. We appreciate your political agendas, for advocating your own economic self-sufficiency, and for working so diligently for the economic well-being of our people. You are real troopers. And even though the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments were written for you, and many of your relatives died for the rights described therein, you did not resist when we changed those black rights to civil rights and allowed virtually every other group to take advantage of them as well. Black people, you are something else. Your dependence upon us to do the right thing is beyond our imagination, irrespective of what we do to you and the many promises we have made and broken. But this time we will make it right. We promise. Trust us. Tell you what, you don't need your own hotels. You don't need your own radio stations. You don't need your own banks. You don't need your own insurance companies. You can continue to stay in ours. You have no need for supermarkets when you can shop at ours 24 hours a day. Why should you even think about owning more banks? You have plenty now. And don't waste your energies trying to break into manufacturing. You work hard enough in our fields. Relax. Have a party. We'll sell you everything you need. And when you die, we'll even bury you at a discount. Now, how's that for gratitude? Finally, the best part, you went beyond the pale and turned your children over to us for their education. With that, we have taught them it's likely they will continue in a mode similar to the one you have followed for the past 45 years. When Mr. Lynch walked to the banks of the James River in 1712 and said he would make you a slave for 300 years, little did you realize the truth in his prediction. Just 13 more years and his promise will come to fruition. But with 2 generations of children gone through our educational system, we can look forward to at least another 50 years of prosperity. Wow. Things could not be better. And it's all because of you. For all you have done, we thank you from the bottom of our heart. Black Americans, you're the best friend any group of people could ever have. Now, when people reference me, they call me a troublemaker. They call me an activist, radical. And for a while, I took offense to that because all I felt I was doing was standing up when I saw something wrong going in my community and having a voice to be able to speak on that. But that being said, sometimes it's good to be a radical. Sometimes it's good to be a Marcus Garvey or Dr. King or Malcolm X. And I think that's why we had such a hard time getting funds, because I refuse to fall for anything. And I believe that the only way we can bring about change, we have to stop asking and start demanding. But more importantly than that, we have to start building our own economic base. We have to start building our own companies. We have to start educating our own about our culture and about our history, and stop relying to other folks. The cavalry is not coming as much as we would like to think so. The cavalry is already here. So anyway, if you want to again read this letter, it's called The Open Letter to Black America, Afrocentric News, and it's a letter that should really make you stand up and wonder why we're not building an economic base within our community. Because at the end of the day, if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't do nothing to affect our community, specifically to affect change. Mass incarceration, again, and I want to give a little backdrop. If you didn't know, Michelle Alexander wrote the book, The New Jim Crow, on the age of mass incarceration in the age of colorblindness. Also, there's been other folks who really started to pick up this challenge and see the direct impact that mass incarceration is having, not only on men, but now on women, which is the fastest growing population going into the prisons. If you don't know, there's a national organization called Bread for the World. And this is a global or international organization which works around the area of hunger. But because of mass incarceration and the effect that it's having on so many folks, they're seeing a direct correlation between mass incarceration and hunger, mass incarceration and poverty. So they did a great book called When Women Flourish, We Can End Hunger, 2015, The Hunger Report. But what I want to call attention to is the actual article they have inside the book. Inside the book regarding hunger and mass incarceration. Now this is a European organization with a focus on hunger and poverty. Because of the epidemic of mass incarceration, they have found a direct correlation between hunger and poverty and mass incarceration / prisons. So I'm going to read you some things out of the article with Bread for the World. and they give some phenomenal statistics regarding the correlation between hunger and poverty and mass incarceration. Facts about prison hunger and poverty. More than 1 in 10 prisoners were homeless in the months before incarceration. For those with mental illness, the rate is closer to 1 in 5. Upon leaving prison, those with history of living in shelter was almost 5 times more likely to have a post-release shelter stay. People living in poverty who experience trauma or have a mental illness are less likely to get professional treatment. Some in these circumstances turn to illegal drugs as a way to cope. Government war on drugs increase by the large amount the number of people in prison with long sentences. It was never the war on drugs. It was always the war on black men. Previously incarcerated people tend to experience higher level of unemployment, and below average wages due to their criminal history, poor work history, lower level education, and higher prevalence of physical and mental health problems. I can't remember who brought this up. He says, if you're living in a community where you see violence on a consistent basis, you would have to be suffering from some type of post-traumatic stress disorder. If you witness someone getting killed or getting assaulted or getting beaten on a daily basis, how can that not affect your psyche? But a lot of our people in our community, man, won't go and get mental health treatment, which, because of the Nico Jenkins case, now have made this, brought it to the national spotlight. But that in itself is an issue by itself. More than 2/3 of people who were incarcerated were legally employed before going to prison. More than half were the primary source of financial support for their children. Studies show that prison records cuts wages for workers by 11%, cuts annual employment by 9 weeks, and reduces yearly earning by 40%. And you can check these facts. They're directly, they're in the book I just gave you. When Women Flourish, We Can End Hunger, that was done by Bread for the World Institute, which is an international organization. The term returning citizen is sometimes used for people who have been released from prison and who have re-entered society. In the state of Nebraska alone, there are 60,000 returning citizens who have the right to vote but don't know they have the right to vote. 60,000. What type of impact do you think those individuals can have on the electoral process or policy changes if they would ever get organized and go to the polls and vote? Many returning citizens are denied government benefits and services that prevent poverty, support economic security, and promote economic mobility. These bans are a recipe for hunger and recidivism. 78% of individuals who are released from prison return to prison in the first 3 years after being released. Federal law permanently bans people with felony drug convictions from ever receiving welfare. Some states have limited these bans, but they're still fully in effect in 12 states, and particularly in effect in 26 states, including the District of Columbia. So, okay, you get out of prison, and you have X amount of time to be able to find employment. Most of the time, man, ex-felons, applications are thrown in the trash if they found out you're an ex-felon. And if you do get a job, most of those jobs are low-paying jobs. Yes, there's some individuals who have gotten good jobs. I'll give you that, but not most of the individuals who are returning citizens. Formerly incarcerated people can be automatically banned from driving or getting professional licenses. Some example of professional licenses that returning citizens cannot get, depending on the state and the offense, are nail technician, hairstylist, barber, roofer, accountant, chiropractor, architect. Yet these are the jobs that some inmates can receive specialized training for while in prisons. The war on drugs caused an explosion in our prison population. The massive effort to crack down on drug-related crimes has left millions of people, disproportionately people of color, with the harmful collateral consequences of incarceration. Nearly half of all federal prisoners are serving sentences from drugs. Mandatory minimum sentences, particularly low-level, nonviolent drug offenses, tie the hands of judges. We have to get rid of mandatory minimum. Back in the day, of course, you remember crack versus powder. Huge issue. Again, folks, you can always check out the information I'm giving by actually going to Bread for the World Institute, and they have all this information on there regarding the data I'm reading. So, mass incarceration is a huge problem when you find a white organization talking about it. We actually had a conference call with about 8 to 9 organizations along with the Black Star Project, and we're getting ready to do what we believe is the first ever conference around mass incarceration, quote unquote, best practices. What's actually out there working to reduce recidivism in Nebraska and around the country. They have some states doing some phenomenal work, like Texas and others, to have reduced recidivism by, I think it was like 18%, without increasing funds. Those are some of the things that we should be looking at: alternative sentences, mandatory minimum sentences, and those sentences where there's a nonviolent crime involved. And I really haven't talked about race and how race is playing in all this. But I want to read. I want to read something, and I don't know why we have not had this paper in a community meeting and discussed, because I think it's probably one of the best papers that I've read in a long time, and it lays out all the data regarding all the information that's being shared by Mr. Patrick McNamara in this paper. And the name of the paper is called "Hiding in Plain Sight: Omaha 160-Year Assault on the Urban Poor, Minorities, and Disadvantaged." And this paper was done June 30th, 2014, by Mr. Patrick McNamara, R.K. Piper, and Ms. Teresa Barone McKetney. And I want to read a couple of things out of the paper. Again, you can go back and check any of the information I'm reading to you, either through this paper, or they got the information on the back where you can go check the information out, the year it was written, and the whole 9 yards. But anyway, I want to read from here. It says, "The virtual utopian narrative of Omaha. Omaha to 5 Fortune 5 is home to 5 Fortune 500 companies: Berkshire Hathaway, Conacher Foods, Union Pacific, Peter Kiewitz and Sons, Mutual Omaha, as noted in the Omaha World Herald. Using the federal government broadcast definition of what constitutes a metropolitan area, the World Herald analysis shows that Omaha is home to more Fortune 500 companies per capita than any major metro area in the nation. Similarly, the Omaha Chamber of Commerce and the Omaha World Herald consistently presents Omaha's other positive high national rankings on a variety of community factors, which tend to support the utopian claims of the city incomparable virtues. Some of these best national rankings are presented in the left-hand column of the table below. To provide a more balanced and accurate view of other wide-ranging and actual conditions in Omaha, however, the left-hand column presents a side-by-side comparison of some of the Omaha worst national condition rankings. This pertinent and often dismissed information demonstrates why large segments of this population refer to the city as two Omahans. Now, in the chamber just won the best chamber of commerce, one of the best in the country. And you hear this all the time. You talk about the good life. And you talk about the 3.5 and 4% unemployment. But you have to put those things in perspective. Because when you're using those numbers, who are you referencing? And that's why we talk about two Omahans. Omaha best conditions, rankings, and indicators. Best city to start a business, but for who? Number 3. Number 1, new and expanding facilities. Number 1 in the country. Number 1, the 10 best cities to raise a family. Number 1. Number 3, number of economic development projects. Number 3 in the country. Number 2, America's 10 best cities for professional women. But for who? Top 50 military-friendly cities. GI jobs. Least financial stress on household. Number 1. And best city for cheapskates. Number 1. But let's look and put things in perspective. Because there's 2 cities here. Number 3, the highest U.S. black poverty rate in the country out of 100 cities. Number 3. Number 1, highest U.S. black child poverty. Number 2, highest U.S. rate of placing children in foster care. Number 1, highest U.S. black homicide victimization rate in the U.S. Number 2, highest percentage of hourly workers earning at or below minimum wage. Number 2, lowest U.S. eligibility level for children, child care assistance for low-income working families. Number 2, the widest U.S. economic disparity between blacks and white residents. Omaha World Herald, number 2 in the country. Number 1, the highest U.S. black arrest for marijuana possession. ACLU, number 1 in the country. The reality of Omaha excluded and damaged communities. With all the massive resources available in Omaha, among many highly vested philanthropic foundations, a high proportion of wealthy professionals and businessmen, and an elite private sector leadership that never fails in any initiative or project they undertake. Policymakers must ask, then why then does Omaha continue to produce and struggle with such extreme poverty after 50 years of effort? And perhaps more importantly, if the private sector leadership takes credit for all the positive economic outcomes that have been produced, must they not also have to take responsibility for all the extremely poor social outcomes that Omaha has also produced? Why do Omaha and Nebraska have minority child poverty rates at 18%, the highest in the entire U.S., and 34% of single-parent families with related children that are below poverty at rate 16,597 adults? Unfortunately, this data highlights the great and growing economic businesses and industries that employers and beneficiaries that of the working poor minority, and disadvantaged citizens and their families in Omaha and Nebraska living near or suffering in poverty every day. We have a huge issue because we're not building economic growth or economic development in our community. South Omaha has a thriving small business economic development in their community, and therefore are dictating a lot of the development that's taking place because they spend their money with each other, for each other, by each other. That is a lot of economic power that they have and are leveraging in achieving the things they need in their community. That's what we got to do. We got to do for self and build our economics within our community. And that's why we went into the prisons at Tecumseh, at LCC, at OCC, and a lot of the brothers who were doing life, mandatory life, 50-year sentences said, we need to think of creating our own development within our community. And also that we need to start looking at the trades, because with the trades, we can go in and make careers without all the financial debt that the 6-year college education is bringing in. And we know a lot of folks, and I want to read this because I think Philip Jackson hit on this, and this is from the Black Star Project, and this is what Philip says. When he talks about how black folks are failing, the 5 things and let me find that. It's 5 things but Philip Jackson of the Black Star Project, who is a mentor of mine, and he does the Black Star newsletter, and he really puts out some phenomenal articles regarding education and what we must do as a people. But anyway, he talks about 5 black facts on black opportunity in America. He says half of black Americans born poor stay poor. Most black middle class kids are downwardly mobile. Black wealth barely exists. And most black families headed by single parent, and black students attend worse schools. 5 black facts and black opportunities on black opportunity in America. Until we realize that we got to stop waiting for other folks to do for us, and we have to do for ourselves. We complain about Omaha Public Schools not doing the necessary things to educate our children about their culture. They're not supposed to. The fact of the matter is we need to educate our communities about our history and our culture. Then we wouldn't be bombarded with all these negative things when it comes to black people and how being black is a negative thing in itself. So I'm not worried about what other people are not doing. I'm more concerned about what we are doing as a community and how we are holding our elected officials and other organizations accountable for not having measurable outcomes to address this problem. Because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what this is about. The same organizations keep getting funded, and we're expecting a different result. Patrick McNamara saying in his letter, we have all this money. How can you tell me 50 years of putting money into a project or an issue or a circumstance, nothing have changed but have gotten worse? Because they don't want to solve the problem? Is that it? That's what Mr. Ali would say. That's what others would say. They don't want to solve the problem because if they do, then that will put a lot of folks out of work. What are your thoughts? Hit me up on 402-965-1003. Our show usually runs 2 hours, but we're going to do an hour tonight. So we got about 18 minutes left into the show. If you have any comments, have an input about what I've talked about tonight, you can give me a holler here at 402-965-1003. Also, I did put the question on the air is, why do we get so outraged when the police kill one of ours, but yet we don't get outraged when we kill one of ours? A 9-year-old girl was murdered by crossfire by rival gang members, but there was no outrage. Nobody was in the streets complaining, and we see that on the daily. Even here in Omaha, Nebraska, where so many of our young innocent folks are getting killed, but yet there's not outrage. And I'm guilty of this. The minute Robert Wagner or the minute someone else get done in by the police, then we're willing to go out here in the streets and make all kind of noise. Does black life matter? And who do it matter to? Give me a call here at 402-965-1003. Again, 402-965-1003. I'm excited. I'm hopefully Mr. King can bring me the card, but I need the card on the 1010. And then also we want to definitely sign up for the Black Men United to have a booth with your event, young man. So is there a cost with the booth? Yes. $40? By the 13th of September? We definitely want to have a booth there. So Small Business Expo, September the 27th at the Kroc Center. We definitely will be in the house. We got to start supporting each other. And small business, I'm down with that because we actually have a small business incubator at our building where we're promoting entrepreneurship and how to start your own business from top to bottom. We'll be working with the Chamber, the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, and others because we have to create our own economic base, but we have to support each other. So I always say spend your money in the hood where you're going to do the most good. Again, small guy promotion, Donnell Taylor, you can reach him at Small Guy Promo at Small Guy Promo 13. Again, this is September the 27th. We definitely want to have this on our Facebook. So if you can send this to me digital, I would appreciate it. Again, it's $40 for a booth. It's free admission. And you can contact him at, again, Small Guy Promo at Small Guy Promo 13. He doesn't have a phone number. Oh, yeah, yes, he does. or you can contact him via 915-3284. That's what I'm talking about. It's all about we got to start building our own economic base, do for self, and when you have events like that, make sure you go out and support. All roads leads to Washington, D.C. Man, I already got my hotel. I'll be there on the 9th and the 10th. Let us unite and come together. Join the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. this October the 10th. Go online to discover more. You can go to Justice or Else, 20th Anniversary Million Man March, Justice or Else. View the interviews, Big Boys Neighborhood, Sway in the Morning, Nighthawk, and the Breakfast Club, all in which can be viewed on YouTube and NOI.org. For information, contact Terry Muhammad at 402-813-4657. Get on the bus. Admission for the round trip bus ride to this historic event is $260. Again, Muhammad Study Group, 4200 North 30th Street, Omaha, Nebraska, Sundays 9:30 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. So come out. If you want to get on the bus, I think there's going to be more than one bus. But right now, I think they're focusing on to getting the first bus filled. And then from that, they plan on filling the second. So, William, did you see that on the table behind that? On the table over there. Yeah, so, again, man, look behind that thing in that little purple sack. Oh, yeah, I see that. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you don't knock yourself out. Again, folks, the 20th anniversary gathering of the Million Man March. Million Man March, 10-10-15, Justice or Else. Folks, it's going to be a good time in the town tonight. Me, William, and Vernon Muhammad, we was there. William was there 20 years ago. I was there 15 years ago. So they already had been there, and so seeing 2 million people, it was nothing to them. But when I saw that many black men, but more importantly, the commerce that was going on with those black men, and not one bad word, not one negative thing took place while we was there. It literally made me go back and start Black Men United, and I'm just so pleased to be here to go back 15 years later and see Minister Farrakhan and the mission that he has for the people who are going to come. Now the call is not just for men. It's for white men. It's for black men. It's for red men. It's for men. It's for women. It's for children. So we need everybody who's ready for justice or else to get on the bus. So I think 95.7, one of the sponsors of the event as well. So you'll be seeing a lot or hearing a lot of information on 106.9 about how you can get involved and get on the bus. Get on the bus. It's justice or else. 10/10/2015. And also, don't forget, September the 27th at the Kroc Center, Small Business Expo, collecting art supplies for donation to the Kroc Center. Again, you can contact Mr. Taylor at 915-3284. Again, we got about 10 minutes left on the show. We're going to do an hour show tonight. Again, folks, I want to go, and they're having a visual for Mr. Ty down at the Hope Center. And I just want to send a special prayer out to all the ones who've lost a loved one to senseless violence or just lost a loved one, period. Our prayers go out to him and his family. And I always say, don't keep your eye to your left or to your right. Keep your eye on Jesus Christ, and he was always He will always see you through. I was hoping to get some type of feedback on the question is why do we get so outraged when police departments kill one of our own, but yet we don't get upset when we kill our own. What are your thoughts about that? I'm gonna go on Facebook and see if there are anybody who commented on it. And I almost forgot. I just want to send a big shout out to my son, Jamel Joseph Hamilton, and his fiance, Janelle. Just recently got engaged from in Kansas City, and as a father, I couldn't have picked a better person for him. They truly are committed to each other. It's great to have someone have your back, and they seem like they got each other's back, and they've been together for about 5 years. Been very supportive of each other, and I'll just leave it at that. So I just want to give a big shout out to my son Jamel, and I just want to say congrats to you and Janelle. That's gonna be more money out of my pocket. Oh my God. Before I forget, also again, we're in the process of having a conference on mass incarceration. We had initial conference call. We're trying to put a budget together for this as we speak. We want to make this a huge conference, and like I said, it's one of its kind. I don't think it's ever been done with a conference going to be around mass incarceration, but we're going to have breakout sessions around everything around the prison school pipeline, mental health, and other things as well. The initial conference call and the buy-in, we had Eye Care Youth Services, Release Ministries, Goodwill Ministry with Gary Kearns, Chris Harris, R.K. Piper, Bread for the World, Barbara Robinson, Mel Beckman, Gary Grayson, Diane Good Collins, Black Men United, Compassion in Action, and the Platt Institute. So we already got a good feel of folks who want to take part in this conference. So we're in the process of just putting the planning committee together. So if you want to be a part of that and you're working with that particular population, please shoot us an email at will@blackmenunited.org. One viewer said, and I'm going back to the initial question is, why do we get so mad at police officers, but we don't get mad at each other's killing people of color? And one person said, elementary genocide, the school to prison pipeline, elementary. Oh, the next documentary that will be done on our Dine Dinner Digest will be the school to prison pipeline, elementary genocide. It's a documentary executive produced by award-winning journalist, filmmaker Raheem Shabazz. The documentary appeals to the wide general viewership by addressing the social, cultural, political, and personal ramification of how the federal government allots money to each state to build prisons based on the failure rate of 4th and 5th graders. So they're actually building prisons based on what happens with our children in the 4th and 5th grade. I don't think you heard me. In America, where half of the 4th grader is reading below grade level, and more African American males are in jail than are in college, elementary genocide serves as a striking reminder of a flawed system in need of repair. I can see you this week. One viewer said, because we are used to it. It's the norm. When a cop does it, it makes us mad because technically it's not our normal. And that's true. That's a very good point. But also, it still doesn't erase why it seemed like we're more concerned and more outraged when things like that happen, but we're not as outraged when black on black crime happens. So how do we address this pandemic? If we don't think black lives matter, why do white people feel they matter? Thoughts? Again, folks, we're going to be on for till 8 tonight. We got about 3 minutes. Give us a call or shoot us an email at will@blackmenunited.org with your thoughts regarding the show, some of the things that I said. But at the end of the day, folks, we have to do for self. As Sean Dove has said on the national scene, the cavalry is not coming. It's not coming. And we have to be bold, and we have to have a backbone, and we have to stand up, and we have to start demanding and doing for self. More importantly, man, we have to support organizations and businesses within our community who are doing the right thing. We can do it. $700 million flowing through our community every year. All we got to do is make sure that money turns over in our community just 4 times. 4 times. And there's going to be some opportunities, man, for the community to drive what they want to see in their community. You want to have a radio station? Well, you have an opportunity to be able to dictate what that radio station does and that we control it. You got an opportunity for a school, the Kamani Center. It's ours. And we're going to be doing some other things with the Kamani Center that we're going to be announcing in the near future. Big things are popping at the Kamani Center. We plan on doing for self, and we're not asking permission. So we want to thank you so much for tuning into the show. Again, we're gonna make it a short one tonight. We're only gonna do an hour. But please get out, educate yourself about issues happening in our community. Get involved. No more excuses. And more importantly, we got to get out, and we have to do for self. Be the difference, folks. And as always, I leave you with peace.